Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Weddings Unfiltered. I'm Heather with Upstate Indie Weddings. We have Molly with the Planning Touch. We have Ron with the new Buffalo Pod. I didn't screw that up. I'm so excited.
I'm happy I didn't screw it up.
Yeah, right? And today we have a very special guest. We have Billy with BGF Photography and Videography. Cannot forget the video component of that because that's incredibly important.
Spicy little sprinkling.
It's a spicy sprinkling. Yeah. I love it. Well, welcome. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about how you got started, what drew you to wedding photography.
Ooh, 30 years ago. Dating myself.
My parents, way back in the day.
Way back in the day.
Yeah.
Okay, now I gotta ask, how old are you?
I'm 37.
So I was gonna say, man, I thought that was the range.
But
He's
literally.
like mentally checking.
Right? Like,
wait a second.
right?
Yeah.
You know, but
The wheels are really spinning.
right? I'll just look like this for another 20 years and then just instantly age after that. It'd be great.
Perfect.
But no, so literally in the 90s, I would steal my parents or my grandparents film cameras and just break them and get yelled at.
Sure.
As any
Was it
8-year-old.
the cheap one? Well, no cameras were really cheap.
There were some cheaper ones, and then there was one or two that I'm not supposed to play with, and I always play with them.
Of course.
Right? Of course, exactly. Right.
When
So,
they tell you no, that means
do.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So eons ago, back when film had to be developed, and you had to
What's that?
right? You couldn't just look at your camera and then just instantly share it to Instagram.
Yeah,
right. Now, right? And then I started then, but honestly, just to play, right? Just have fun with it. In college, I went to UB, and in college, I DJ'd weddings for 3 seasons.
That's fun.
Like a
Ron, weren't
crazy
you a
person.
wedding DJ too?
Yeah, let's talk shop after because.
You were a DJ?
Wait,
Wait,
I was like,
No, so
Molly, did you miss the
I totally did that.
I didn't get into it on purpose. I worked for the UB radio station and kind of got roped into doing school events and whatnot. And one of the professors was like, "Hey, Mike, one of my students is getting married. Do you want to do their wedding?" I was like, "Okay, sure. Pay me a pizza and
That's all you got.
$20 or something. I'll do it." Right? Stole the equipment, borrowed the equipment, right? And did my first wedding, and I loved it. It was amazing.
Yeah.
I was like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Okay.
And then I, had to get a real job because, engineering.
Hey, it's a real job.
I had to get a real job for a while, right?
Yeah.
So then, but we popped out our daughter, and I was like,
I like that you said we.
I know, we popped out our daughter.
I helped. Okay, I was there. I was holding her hand.
Where's your wife? I feel like.
Right?
Well, she's expecting another one. So.
Yeah, I was at round 2 in a month. But
Are you helping pop this one out too?
I mean, I'll be there for emotional support. I'll
Sure.
be in the next one, whatever they'll allow me to do,
Okay.
right?
Yeah,
Who knows, right? But the plan is, so I was like, okay, well, I can't really be gallivanting all over New York State like I had to with my old job, so now is a perfect time for a career change.
Sure.
And I was like, you know what? I've always wanted to do this. I've always loved photography, and just kind of jumped into it.
Did you go full in?
I went part-time in years ago. I was, second shooting.
Okay.
I shot a couple weddings, starting in 2018, 2019. Just for funsies, right? Just to do it on the weekends. And with the baby, I was like, let's go hard, right? Let's go hard. Let's see what happens. This was 2024, and once I hit 27 dresses, it's like it's time to quit the day job. We had a little 27 dresses party and everything. And,
I love it.
Nobody dressed up.
Aww.
Somebody asked. Somebody was like, "Should we wear a different dress?" And
Yes.
no, we didn't. That didn't.
Aw.
I mean, half of the guests were guys. What are they going to be doing, right? So
Wearing a tux.
wear a
I don't
tux,
know.
right? No,
There you go.
exactly. But I was like, okay, this is it.
Yeah.
This is the end game now.
This is the end game.
This is the end game now.
So it's been a year and a half since full time.
Full
Is that
time,
right?
yeah, since end of 2024.
Okay, there you go. Awesome.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah,
Very
excited.
nice.
Very excited.
I think photography is definitely one of those kind of vendor categories from the couple perspective that can be a little bit intimidating, right? I think that it's one of the first things that couples book, and it's usually up there in terms of how expensive it can be, right? So there's lots of range there too.
They say, you want to spend about 10, no more than 20% of your budget on your media.
Mhm.
So that's a big chunk.
That's a big chunk,
That's a big chunk,
right? And that's really, if you think about it, at the end of the day, that's really the thing that stays with the couple throughout their entire lives.
Yeah,
That's what
photos
they're
are
showing
huge. Yes.
their kids. I mean, you guys, if you had a videographer,
Yep.
and every single year you guys sit down on your anniversary and watch that video.
Mhm.
Like, that's so special,
Yep.
you know?
That is the dream.
That's the
That is
dream, right?
That's why I wanted a video on. Like that's why I wanted a video.
So, you know, I think it's also kind of a tip because it feels like it's very techy too, right? Like,
Toys all day. Come on.
love the toys, you know? They have all the cameras and the lighting and the things, and there's different styles. It's just a lot for someone who doesn't understand photography to like actually then make that investment, right? What's the right way? And then sometimes people go with the cheapest way, and then they're very disappointed, or the most expensive, and maybe they didn't need all that. So, can you break down maybe like the 3 things that couples need to know
Absolutely.
before they actually put that deposit down inside that nuclear?
So before we even get super technical
Yeah.
on the various parts of photography, I think the most important thing is, what do you as a couple value most when it comes to remembering the wedding day?
Okay.
So what that means is, for most people, for 99% of weddings,
Yeah.
is some sort of photography. You're gonna have to have something printed out, something in an album. Mom's gonna have to put something in the fridge, right? It's gonna
Of
have
course
to
she
be,
does.
right? Something
Yeah.
has to be tangible that she can hold on to. Videography is another thing where, unfortunately, because of the fact that you almost always have to double your budget to be able to get a videographer, you end up with putting that as kind of the, let's see how we are at the end of planning.
Yeah.
Can we afford this? Maybe we can add it on as a bonus kind of thing. But the difference with videography is, of course, you know, when you have your general dancing during the reception, everything looks so much better with context
Sure.
when it's in motion.
Yeah.
Whereas when you take photos of dancing, there's only so many various ways, and then it starts looking a little silly afterwards, right? That's why photographers usually leave. But
I was gonna say they're usually
Yeah.
leaving.
we're done after
They get
a while.
like 10 minutes
The
of
few
dancing and
candid,
it's
the few
done.
candid dancing pictures.
Yeah, they get a few in there.
Exactly, right? So that's where you really, you know, you do kind of miss out if you don't have videography. So getting that decision, I think, is actually having that first kind of conversation with your significant other is extremely important. What do we actually want? Moving on from there, right? If we want to get slightly more technical, there's various styles of wedding photography, even videography, and then there's various editing styles. We're going to do a little part 2 deep dive afterwards, so stay tuned for that. But just to give you a quick overview, there's a couple of major camps. My personal style is I like to capture your wedding story the way that it happened. I would prefer not to turn into my photo shoot and I pose you in a bajillion different ways that you're just not comfortable in. So let's not do that. Let's just let you guys be cute. That's actually one of our most common prompts is I'll just be like, Heather, be cute. Just like do something cute. All right, exactly. And then, or I'll literally say like, you're not allowed to be cute or do cute things if I'm not in the room.
Yeah.
Like if I have to go do something with my mom next door, stop being cute, right? Like just do something fun. You know, get all cozy, get all cuddly, get up in each other's personal space, and that's usually enough for me to really capture your energy. That's important to me. That's where the kind of candid wedding photography stuff comes from. There's other ones where you have more kind of editorial style, so think like Vogue, think runway, think like major fashion, you know. And basically what you're doing is you're emphasizing the venue space as well as the way you look and dress. Let's say you put thousands of dollars into your outfit. Well, let's show
Here we
that
go.
off,
Yeah.
right? Let's show that off.
Yeah.
Let's say you booked a venue, the most aspirational venue that you always wanted to get married in. Let's show that off, right? And that's where you kind of have this editorial style.
Those are like the ones you get framed and like way 2 by
Exactly.
24
Yeah,
that
the
hang
big
above
ones.
the
Right.
couch.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're like, I've been published, like that's
Yeah,
like that,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Look at me.
Right,
I
like,
look great in
hair
this
flip,
space.
exactly,
Yeah.
right? So those are kind of the two major.
Is that
That was serious.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Is this
I
the
don't
first
think-
hair flip of the season?
That's the first.
That one was totally intentional.
Well, we knew that. I mean, if it wasn't. Wow.
Are we both hair flippers? Because you have had a good hair flip.
I've had a couple. I used to have.
I feel like you
like
fluff
hair.
a little. You don't
I do.
flip.
I do.
I'm actually
Yeah,
starting to
yeah.
give myself
I
that
just let
headache.
it, you know. I will totally do a thing, which I'm sure if you go on my Instagram, you'll see like reels of
These
it.
two sitting next to each other probably.
I know, but probably should have swapped it.
Right.
They're
I
so
almost
touching
just
each
knocked
other's
off my
hair.
brain.
It's
I
gonna
know.
get weird.
It's gonna get real weird.
It's gonna get-
I'm gonna get hit.
It's
gonna be
okay.
amazing.
I haven't flailed once. Except for that one
I was
time
gonna say,
when
wait,
flailed
you
and
did hit me.
Flipped and it was bad. Anyway, that would have been
Okay,
a great shot right there.
anyways.
Anyways. Perfect.
Anyways.
So we have kind of the candid, we have more of that kind of editorial that really shows off.
Those
you
are the
know.
two major camps, right? And then you have sort of categories. series,
Sure.
right? You have more of a classic style, a more, you know, do you like film? Are you nostalgic about the 90s, right? Like, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Are you nostalgic about your parents' wedding photos, right? So you can really kind of break that down with your wedding photography. But what is incredibly important is that you want to find a wedding photographer that fits your style. And that's why typically wedding photographers will have their portfolio in some fashion, on their website, on their Instagram. You can gauge the style based on the way they shoot, and you don't want to find someone who only does editorial, but now you're trying to get them to catch all your candidates.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
There's usually some overlap, but you want to find someone that's really comfortable in their element.
I think that's what the biggest mistake my wife and I made was, you know, she kept telling me that she wanted candidates, but to me, I don't want my photographer giving candidates. Like, yes, they're gonna get some, right? Like,
Sure.
you're gonna catch moments here
Of
and there.
course, yeah.
But like, I want my guests to get the candidates. That was my opinion.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, the guests get the candidates and the photographer gets some really good stuff, like the juicy good.
The juicy stuff, right?
That
Yeah.
make us look real.
Yeah, you know, the
Right.
funniest thing is like, our photographer was very, I would call his style editorial, but also very cinematic.
Mhm.
And I don't know why my wife was okay with us going with it, because I don't think that's what she really wanted.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I pushed too hard, and I made, but I fell in love with one of his pictures from his engagement shoot.
Yeah.
And that's what made us love him.
That's actually a perfect example of what I mean by it's great to have a conversation
Yeah.
with your significant other,
Yeah.
right? Because you may end up thinking, wow, I really love this particular photo or these series of photos, and then realize this is not actually candid. This is
Right.
more editorial stuff,
I-
right? So
Yeah.
it's great to have that dialogue.
I almost wish that we would have just paid him to do our engagement shoot, because that was what we really fell in love with, was his engagement shoot.
Mhm.
And I love the artistic stuff with photography, so like I love the shots that he did, but you know, we should have probably done a little more digging for our wedding.
That's
Yeah.
you know, one of the most common mistakes, really. You know, the next thing, which really kind of drills in the sort of the third most important thing about booking really any of your wedding vendors for the most part, bartending, your planner is probably even more important.
Yeah.
Your personality as the couple
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So true.
and the personality of this vendor.
Such a good point, Billy.
Who gets to spend the most amount of time with you on a wedding day? It's gonna
Honestly,
be,
I
it's
feel
gonna
like
be
it's,
you and I.
yes.
Like, we shot a wedding together
Yeah.
last year where that was actually a relatively calm, very peaceful
It
wedding.
was,
Not a lot of
it
blue
was.
parts, but imagine that times like 5,
Yeah.
which is a typical wedding day
Yeah.
for most people, right? So you really spend a lot of time with the photographer, a little bit less so the videographer,
Mm-hmm.
but definitely the photographer, and a lot more of the planner,
Mm-hmm.
day of coordinator, venue coordinator.
Yeah.
So that's your third most important thing, and arguably I would place that at number 2. I would rank it as what we want as far as documenting a wedding, and then what kind of a personality
Who's the
are
right
we?
person?
You are
Who's the
spending
right
all
person?
day with them.
Literally
like,
all
literally.
day. Literally all day. If there's beef of any kind, okay, it's just the gears are gonna grind. It's just gonna just fall apart.
Or not even beef, it's just like personality styles. Like some
Personality
people
styles.
are like just very outgoing
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
outspoken, and a lot of people they just also don't feel comfortable in front of a camera.
Right.
You know,
I
and
don't.
if people,
Engagement session as well.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah,
And if-
you want
if-
to have something.
Yeah,
where you-
that make like my photographer was so great because I'm not good with like being in photos, but she was just like, yes, Molly, beautiful Molly. Like she was just encouraging, and it was just like motivating me to like be like, you know, like I'm just gonna keep going. She wants more.
Right? Yeah, that's
I
right.
had the same situation, because like I'm not a big smiler, like I smirk a lot, and my photographer was able to bring out that smile in me, and I was like, able to bring out that smile in me, and like that made the world of difference in our pictures.
Yeah.
Like, I was so happy that he was able to do that, and he did the same thing on our wedding day. He came back again, and it was he got it. So
And I would present to you kind of a sort of a difference in styles, right? So in candid style, I would just let you and your wife interact.
yeah,
And I would just stay a comfortable distance away. I don't want to be like all up in your face.
Like,
And then-
hello.
Yeah, hello.
Let me get
right?
that.
Right. And then at some point, she's going to say something that'll make you laugh.
right,
And that'll be the most beautiful photo of you ever taken.
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
She's a very nervous person, so like I think that's why I was happy that he was able to do
Yeah.
that, because I don't like her standing there knowing there's a camera there. Like she would keep looking over and be like, "Is this okay? Is this okay?"
Yeah, I'm very anxious, so
It's
I.
very intimidating
It
to
is.
be on
So
the
when
other
you're
side
telling
of the
someone
camera.
to be a model that
Yeah.
isn't a model,
Which is, well, again, where it's very interesting that you guys went with an editorial style because that'll make you guys more nervous.
I,
right?
you know what? Again, we should have probably done a little more research.
This is the conversation
But
I was talking
yes.
about.
we
Right? This is
also-
what we want, right?
These kind of talks weren't around
Yeah.
Sure.
the way they are now.
Hopefully, what
You
we're
know.
doing today is
Yeah.
going to kind of ignite that conversation.
For sure.
I think.
For
Right?
sure.
'Cause I think it's a conversation everyone needs to have before they really hunker down and
Yeah.
blow
Absolutely.
10-20% of their budget on
1000%.
this, right?
I mean,
what are we looking for?
Way back in the day when I got married, I had a vision in mind of, I mean, this is 1,000 years ago, but like I had a vision in mind of like what I kind of wanted it to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found a photographer that I thought I liked,
Mhm.
and his pictures looked nice. But the vision I had in mind and the photos that he presented to me were totally not the thing. And we got great pictures out of it, but
Mhm.
just not what I
Yeah.
envisioned.
But I think that's also like the whole vision board thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can't expect a certain picture to come out the same way that it came out from another photographer.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so.
In fact, I have a personal quirk in that I really, really would prefer if my couples don't send me their Pinterest board.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It just, in my mind, now I have to remember what you liked,
Yep.
and I
Yeah.
have to like think from a list
Right.
rather than being laser
Go.
focused on the two
Your
of you.
style.
Well, not so much my style, but just laser focused on the couple being them,
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
which is important to me, right? That's my personal sort of choice, I guess.
DJs similar. Like sometimes DJs are like, please don't send me a full list because
Right.
then I can't.
I want to get the
Right.
vibe of the dance
Yeah.
floor.
These are all
and-
creative fields that the
Exactly.
person needs to let their creativity flow
Right.
and not be kind of restricted by.
But on the flip side of things, right, if you did want that editorial,
Yeah.
a Pinterest board inspiration is wonderful. In fact,
Mhm.
it's actually incredibly useful
Mhm.
because now you know exactly what the couple's doing.
Yeah.
Sure.
So it really depends on what kind of photographer you're interested in, what kind of photography you're interested in, how you want to get that story
Yeah.
captured.
Yeah. One other thing that I think is becoming even more popular and hoping we can kind of like give some definition around it is videography versus kind of content creation,
Mm.
right?
That's a
I
huge
love it.
one.
It's a huge one.
Huge.
And I think that they're totally different things.
They are.
And I kind of feel, and you guys can tell me if you disagree, but
Okay.
I feel like, to your point earlier, the video was kind of almost the afterthought. Like if we can afford it, like that would be a nice to have, but not a need to have. But then content creation kind of got more popular, and now people are seeing the content creation and they kind of understand what it is, but now they're kind of going back to, but wait, I want that more polished, longer look, and it's kind of all boats are sort of rising a
All
little
boats
bit.
are rising,
Do you
yeah.
guys agree,
Yes.
or
Yes.
I guess before that, can you kind of explain for people exactly
Just
what that
the
difference is?
definitions,
Yeah,
right?
just
What exactly
definitions.
are the differences?
Yeah.
So, again, going back to what you consider most important.
Sure.
Most people would consider photography to be most important. And then they do want some kind of motion to be captured. And it could be up until 2022, up until literally the year 2022, content creation as a category, a vendor did not exist.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
wild.
And
That's the year I got married, and I
there-
did not even know about
We didn't know,
content
right? It
creation.
was.
Yeah.
I got married in 21. That was not a thing,
That
right?
was not a thing.
In fact, strawberry cannoli and
We
people with food strapped to them was not a thing.
We had the
I was
little
very sad.
disposables on our
Yeah.
table. Yeah.
Right. Well, film photography. Let's talk about that as a tangent later for part
Yeah,
two,
sure.
because wedding photography back when it was on film, that was a fun time, fun era.
That gives me so much anxiety thinking
Oh
about.
my god.
Fun
Right, we'll
era,
save that
right?
goodness.
We'll
We'll
save
save
the
that
goodness of part
goodness,
two
but-
for the deep dive.
yeah.
Exactly. So when it comes to videography, when it comes to motion being captured, up until 2022, your options were you pretty much had to find a separate vendor team, a separate videographer or a team of videographers, and your entire wedding day turns into both a photography session and a little bit of a filming session ultimately at the end of the day, because you do have to kind of make space for both teams to work. Along comes hybrid coverage, which is what I do, which is I kind of do a little bit of both with a minimal footprint, aiming for couples that are like, I really don't know if I want to double my media budget, but I still want to produce and have video that I want to watch in 5-10 years. Content creation is the perfect middle ground. So you have photography only, photography and videography, photography and hybrid coverage, and now you have a fourth category, content creation. What's amazing about content creation is it takes you only about a week to get your footage, to get your clips. Sometimes you'll get your clips that night. In fact, some content creators will literally airdrop you all the clips before you leave. And then they'll spend about 2 days or so, put together a nice little kind of highlight reel, all the fun moments. And even within content creation, there's various styles. You can have more of a behind the scenes candid style where you're just doing silly things and you're getting captured, right? kind of the style that mimics my personal style of photography. And then you have the more kind of editorial style. You're focusing on more of the venue, the details, the grand kind of, you know, overall look of your wedding and your venue. That is a perfect way to kind of slot in some motion to be remembered and captured on your wedding day without the doubling your media budget, you know, without kind of doing all these things. That's the main difference between content creation and videography. Videography, you're not going to get anything until about a month or two after, right?
Yeah.
But
Minimum.
it'll be minimum. But, you know, because again, we're editing 5 cameras worth of footage, everything's got to say, you know, audio, right? All this stuff has to be edited. The difference, of course, is that that is something you would play on a TV in front of your whole family.
Right.
Yeah.
For
On
Christmas.
your
Yep,
or-
nope,
or
that's
on
what
your
I do.
anniversary.
I watch it from my phone on
your TV,
Yep.
exactly. Or like, you know, for a family gathering for Christmas, you know, that kind of thing. The content creation is bite-sized, it's easy, but it's instantly shareable and you get it right away.
Yeah.
Pros
Because
and
we
cons.
live in an
Yep.
Instagram world.
We do.
Gratification.
We do.
And like a lot of my clients are like they're starting to ask like I want a content creator, and I'm like, well, do you know the difference? Like, are you sure that's what you want? Because maybe you know want the full day.
Sure, right?
And I'm like, so content creation, like sometimes it just highlights the big moments of the day or whatever moments the couple wants. Like I had one bride that was like, I just want somebody at the church to capture like just like key moments of the ceremony. You know, like behind the scenes, like in the morning and then like throughout. So like the content creation is kind of like mini video, I feel.
Basically,
Yeah.
basically, right? And of course, you know,
And you get it quicker.
and you get it quicker, and then the budget also.
Yeah, the
reflects
budget
that.
is definitely
Is
made
also
way
reflect-
yes.
you know,
Yes.
reflects that as well.
For sure.
But that is perfect for a lot of couples. That's why the content creation as a vendor category has exploded, right? Sometimes you don't really necessarily need that cinematic, full-blown video. I think the statistic is about 30 to 40% of weddings book a videographer, just nationwide. We're probably somewhere within that range there. Now you have 60% of weddings that don't have videography, and it's typically the most common regret after a wedding is I didn't book any kind of video. Now you have a wonderful kind of a little middle ground, right? To kind of still get something, and then you can get it within 2 days, get it within a week, and watch it, share it,
Post it. I love
go
that.
viral on TikTok, all the
Yeah,
fun
right.
things.
Yeah, because some
right?
photographers, some will give you sneaks like within a few days, but I know some photographers, I had brides that are like, I haven't seen any photos from my wedding yet, and I'm
for
like,
like a month or 2 or 3
Yeah.
sometimes.
I'm like,
even, right?
what?
Yeah. Mhm.
And it's like with the content creation, at least you would have that week,
At
and you
least
have
would
something.
that
Kind of
immediately.
enjoy it.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So there's that's the thing. There's literally really good benefits to kind of having everything. And at the end of the day, every vendor besides your actual wedding certificate or your marriage certificate or marriage license, everything that you do for your wedding is technically a luxury.
Yes,
Yeah,
a
right.
wedding
Yeah.
is a luxury.
And right, wedding is a
Yeah.
luxury. So you can go hard and get photo, videography, and content creation. In fact, a lot of photographers, a lot of videographers are now offering content creation on top of recommending content creators, that they work with a lot. Or, right, you can trim that down. So it really depends on what you're looking for. Again, go back to our original point of have that conversation.
Yeah.
Decide what's important to you
Yeah.
and decide where you want to place your budget and your value.
Well said, Billy. Well said. Well, I'm excited for the extended version
The
of
extended
this to
version.
get into all the nitty
Round
gritty
2.
details.
We're gonna get a little comfortable because this chair is not that comfortable.
Gotta get
we're
comfy.
gonna get like a couch in here, maybe like change it up a little.
It'll be
right?
fun.
Right? We're gonna I brought a different outfit too.
Ooh, an outfit
I thought that was already the
change.
outfit.
I
I brought
outfit
no,
change.
or we're just gonna wear this because it's very cozy.
There we go.
Right? So.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Billy, for
Thank you.
being
Thank
here
you, guys.
and kind of giving us a little 101 on the wedding photography.
We scratch, we barely tickled the surface.
Just a little,
Just a sprinkling, a little sprinkle. Yeah,
a little
exactly.
spice.
Yeah, but these are very important things. Just like you said,
1000%.
what are the first things you should do? Is let's not just randomly go off of Instagram,
Yeah.
grids and decide, okay, this is what I want, even
Sure.
though you don't know anything about the photographer or their
Right.
style, right?
Yeah.
Have those conversations.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Weddings Unfiltered. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Cheers.